Bienvenidos. Welcome. Okay, hola chicos y chicas. This might be my 5th time recording this. I might have had problems with the camera, with the focus, with the audio, with everything in between, with the sun. But you know what? Just like you guys, I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna keep persevering, all right? And that's what you need during your first year. Medical School 101 Survival Guide with your guide, Michael D. at the University of Arizona College of Medicine, Phoenix, the Harvard of the Southwest, as I like to call it. This is going to be a long video. Grab some water to stay hydrated, as we say in the medical field, and also maybe a salty snack or a sodium-enriched snack, as we say in the medical field, and get ready, because I'm going to walk you through a lot of stuff. Let me go through a little bit about the outline of this video. I'm going to give you a pep talk, then I'm going to be going over a very basic timeline of medical school, and then break down each section. So I'm going to go through each section. I'm going to walk you through kind of what medical school looks like on a week-to-week basis. I'll then go over studying strategies, and then I'll go over some advice at the end, and we'll wrap it up. It's pep talk time, baby. Here's the thing about medical school. A lot of people say a lot of different things. What I say is it was one of the best years of my life. And I don't say that very often. I'm not that naive. I'm an optimistic person, but it's rooted in good things. I enjoy what I do. Medical school is full of a ton of purpose and a ton of wonderful learning. There's not much busy work. You're really focused on, learning what you need to know to be a doctor, and you're going to do it alongside a lot of wonderful people. So you might be nervous coming in. What I would say is come in with humility and come in being grateful, right? You're gonna have the opportunity to do something that not very many people get to do in their entire life, right? And people have worked their entire life to get to this moment. And so just be thankful that you're here, that you're at a great institution, that you have access to things like, anatomy, donor bodies, and you have access to so many different tools for learning and so much information that's been given to us. So if you can go into it with that mindset and with some humility, you don't have to be the smartest person in the world. You just have to be hungry for learning, really. And that's what I tell myself. Whenever I'm too focused on myself and I'm too prideful, my weeks are absolutely miserable. You cannot do that in life. You have to be focused on others, and you have to be humble. You have to kind of realize that, people have other strengths and people are gonna have better strengths than I have. And you know what? That's okay. You don't have to be the person to your left or to your right. You just have to be yourself, and you have to be willing to learn. So if you can do that, you're going to love medical school. You're going to do great. It really is a wonderful time, and people shouldn't scare you too much before you're coming in. The timeline of medical school. You have 7 main blocks throughout medical school. This is where the most of your learning is going to come in. And so you're going to have Intro to Medicine, MBLD, Clinical Anatomy, MSNS1, NS2, CV Heme, and PRAB, and I'll throw up some dates on there as well. Pretty much each block is going to be its own focus section, walking you through a different part of the body. The only, caveat to that is anatomy. Clinical anatomy actually overlaps 2 of the blocks. It's kind of thrown on top of other blocks you'll be in. However, they do shift things around, so it's not like it's just double the workload out of nowhere. Next thing to talk about a little bit is doctoring. Doctoring spans the entire year, and it's in its own section. So it has its own grades. It's kind of separate. It doesn't take up as much time, but it's its own section. And then another thing is the scholarly project. You'll also see that spans the entire year. That can take up a decent amount of time, or it can take up very little time, depending on how much you want to focus on that. Now, to my favorite part of the year, the breaks. Okay, so you get 3 breaks: a fall break, a winter break, and a spring break. Now, something that I wish I had known that wasn't talked about that much, I guess, or maybe I didn't really focus on it, was that you get not only a week off for a lot of these, but then you end up getting a couple of other things that make your life so nice. So let's go to fall break. In fall break, you get 1 week off just fully, and then you get a week that is called Capstones Week. Now, Capstones Week is a very chill week. You're going to sign up to go stay or to go follow a doctor. Basically, it's a 4-hour chunk, and you do that twice during capstone weeks. So it's really only 8 hours. And then after that, on fall break, you have another week where all you have is clinical anatomy before you start a new block. So what I'm trying to say is, you heard it right. When you first go to fall break, you're actually gonna have 3 easy weeks coming up. So use that time wisely. Then in your winter break, you have 2 weeks that are full off. Then your spring break, you have the week off, and then you also have a capstones week. The retreat. So you got into medical school, you're relaxing, you're drinking pina coladas on the beach. What's the first thing you're gonna do? Well, you're going to basically come to school at some point, or you're going to have to do some things for the school, like a retreat before school even starts. What I would say is take advantage of anything the school has to offer before medical school starts. It's a great time to go have fun, meet people, meet a wife. That's at least what I thought. Did not work out. Doesn't mean it can't work out for you. You just got to be yourself, show up, and enjoy. And then you're going to start your first official block, which is called Intro to Medicine. Now, this isn't really a block. When you first start medical school, it's going to basically be a 2-week long syllabus week. It's going to be the most structured part of medical school, maybe because you're forced to be places a lot more. You're going to have things pretty much every day that you're going to have to do in places you're going to have to be, and just realize medical school is not really like that. During this time, get things ready, get prepared, make sure you talk with students, have fun during this time. You'll have 2 weeks, and then you're going to, at the end of the 2 weeks, have your white coat ceremony, and then you will start, real medical school the week after. That brings us to block work. So block work, again, is the majority of your work. This is the majority of medical school, which you put your time to. Block work consists of the following: lectures, problem-based learning, case-based instructions, and exams. Let me walk you through what this kind of looks like in a typical week of medical school. Lectures. This is where all the learning really happens for the most part, okay? You're going to have about 12 full lectures a week, which is about 50 minutes each of lectures. Lectures can be watched in person, but you can definitely watch them at home online, no matter what. So if you don't actually want to go in person, you don't have to. You only have to go to the ones that are mandatory to show up to. Case-based instructions. That's the next kind of portion. This is a little bit different and something that you're not going to be used to. You're going to show up to campus. You're going to be a part of a group of 8 people, and they're going to walk you through a case. So you will literally show up, you'll get a hypothetical patient. They will say, my pinky toe hurts. And then you're gonna work through some questions, and you're gonna work through some lab work and all this kind of stuff. And you're gonna find out, oh my gosh, this person has lung cancer. I thought it was just their pinky toe. At the end of it all, once you figure out what they have and what you're dealing with, then you and your other members, so 7 other people, so that's 8 total, are going to create a PowerPoint presentation. You're gonna be responsible for a little chunk of it, and then you're going to present it. You will either do it on campus on that same day, you'll make it and present, or you might go home and then kind of make the part of the presentation and come back and present. It's very basic. Don't worry about it. People are a little bit nervous about this, but you're not really graded on it, right? You just need to show up, be positive, be willing to learn. There's going to be an instructor there, a professor, and they're going to be walking you through the case, and they're going to make sure that you know everything you need to know for the exam. That leads us to PBLs, so problem-based learning. This is another thing the school does. This is more basic. You show up to a room, you join a group, or you're given a group, and you walk through practice problems together and you work through them. That's literally all it is. A lot of times it's just supplemental, it's extra, they're not mandatory. You can show up if you want to, but if you don't, it's not like you're missing content. You're just missing maybe some practice problems. Okay, all that brings us to the exam. So your lectures, your CBIs, and your problem-based learning, all that is helping you prepare for the exam, which you need to pass, right? And exams are taken either every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. You can take an exam on a Friday or on a Sunday. They're usually around an hour and a half to 2 hours, and they're kind of like anywhere from 60 questions to 90 questions. The exams are taken on a personal computer, so you're gonna do them most likely at home. You put some software on your computer, but what it is it's honor code, so no cheating, no open book. The school trusts us, and it works out great in my opinion. Caveats. Yay! Clinical anatomy is a kind of weird block. So for clinical anatomy, you still learn through lectures online, but you're going to have to be in person, of course, to be with the cadavers, to be with the donors, the bodies. I think that's 3 synonyms. It's a little bit different. You're gonna be on campus way more than you normally are, and you're going to be taking the exams also in person, so that's just different. Other coursework is doctoring. So doctoring is great. It's a full year long. It's not nearly as much work as like block material and whatnot. It's a little bit more chill in some ways. What you do is every other week, or every week sometimes, you're gonna show up for a 4-hour period, and you're going to be working on physical exams and skills that you'll need to work with patients. It aligns with the coursework, right? So if you're learning about muscles and stuff and bones, then you're gonna do like a musculoskeletal exam where you'll be walking through what that looks like, a physical exam on a patient. A lot of times when you show up to these 4-hour sessions, you're just there to practice. There are gonna be some things that you have to complete for doctoring, that you have to go through, but for the most part, it's practice until you take the OSCE. Now, the OSCE is just a fancy word for it's like an exam for doctoring. Dr. Moffat, the person who runs it, is like, she's like a general, like a sergeant. Great, very scary, very nice, but she's gonna do her best to make sure that you do not, fail that course, that you do not have to take that course again. The last thing I should mention is CCE. This on top of your block work, on top of doctoring, on top of your scholarly project work, is going to be kind of the other, like the cherry on top of what you do. This is basically where you show up every other week to a doctor's office and you shadow a doctor for 4 hours. It's super fun, you build relationships, it's not crazy. So now we're at the best section, maybe the most important section of the entire video, the study strategies. How the heck do you study, do you pass courses in medical school at the University of Arizona College of Medicine, Phoenix, Stanford of the Southwest? One word, 2 syllables, Anki. Have a good day. I gotta put the disclaimer, not every strategy works for everybody, okay? The hardest part about medical school actually is finding the best way to study that works for you. That's what takes the longest time, but put in the work for that. Try and find a way that works for you, that you enjoy, because once you find that, studying is gonna be so much better. I will not say there's a perfect way to study, but I will say there are bad ways to study. I'm gonna give you some good ways to study here, but there's gonna be so much advice thrown at you, so you guys are smart. If you don't like what I say, you don't have to use it, but I'm gonna keep it real, I'm gonna keep it honest with you, how a lot of us study in medical school. And it's gonna seem a little bit overwhelming, but we're gonna work through it together, and by the end of it, I hope you will have an idea and you will feel good. So, Anki, in my opinion, is the premier way to study in medical school, and our school has built a great system for using it. Before how we use it with our school, what is it and why do we use it? If you've never heard of Anki or you're kind of new, Anki is just a software. It's a fancy flashcard application. It's a software designed around what we call spaced repetition. The software gives you flashcards and it tells you when you need to study them so you do not forget the material, and it organizes it all in a very beautiful way. And what a bunch of medical students did was they created a wonderful, huge flashcard deck called Anki, which basically has all of medical school that you will need for the first 2 years to do well on the STEP exam. Anki is great because, again, it takes out the thinking. You just show up and you do the flashcards, and it's gonna tell you what you need to do and when you need to do it. Also, the flashcards that are made and that are used in Anki are the best flashcards ever. They have resources built in, okay? It's technology.
Wait, SpongeBob! We're not cavemen! We have technology!
Amboss has been built into it. All these resources have been poured into this flashcard deck. So you have great outside resources. You're able to hover over things in the application and it'll tell you all about the different words, and it'll show you exactly what you need to know, and it'll give you mnemonics, and it's all built in this application. And the cards are pre-made and it's free. So you save a ton of time and you don't have to pay anything for it. Anki was created based off of the highest and the best outside resources used. What are outside resources? Basically, medical or like companies sat there and said, we think we can teach medical school, so we're gonna try. And they did, and they succeeded in a lot of ways, and they have some strengths. Strength number 1 of these companies is that they are very specific for helping you pass boards. So they don't mess around, they cut out all the fat, they give you what you need to know. Number 2 is they have fantastic teachers because, of course, they're competing with everybody else, all these other companies, so you have to have the best teachers. You can't suck or else you're not going to sell your product. Capitalism, right? Strength 3 is they're not bound to anything. They can get creative with what they're doing as long as they're adding value. So in normal medical school, they teach off of, PowerPoints, and they always have kind of stuck to that. But then you have these companies who are bringing in new ideas like Sketchy, where you just teach based off of like videos and photos and cartoons, and it's very effective. The Anki Deck was basically looking at all these great companies, and they made flashcards off of these companies' videos. So they worked together in collaboration. In order to use Anki, you have to download it. Link is below. Once you have it downloaded, then you need to use add-ons, all right? You need to download it and get add-ons. The links are below. These are just extra tools to help you in your medical school journey. Then you need to download the Anki Deck, link below. And then you need to configure the settings, link below. And these are settings that are going to tell you exactly how often you're going to see the cards, how often you're going to use it. Now, if I were you, and there was one thing I did before medical school started, it would be to learn the software application Anki. If you know it and you know your way around it like the back of your hand, it's going to be so helpful for when medical school starts. A lot of students want to use it, but they still don't know how to use it, and they don't feel like they have time to know, because once you start medical school, your time starts getting sucked away, right? So now you have your deck, you have it set up. How do you ace your courses with it? Everyone wonders, how do you use outside resources and flashcards from outside resources to ace the courses that are in my medical school? How does it translate? Does it translate well? Well, I'm going to give you, the real holy grail of this entire video and of what our school has done that's wonderful. Are you ready? Are you ready? And it all surrounds what is called the exam scheduler. So I'm going to pull it up right now for you. Here is the exam scheduler. This is going to be given to you. What this is basically students from the past, from like last year's class, they basically went through and they put all of our lectures for every exam, in each block on like this left side, and then they put all these outside resources that align with it. And they went through and they found videos from all these companies that align with what our school is teaching, and they organized it beautifully. This is for MBLD. This is your first real block. They have every exam that you could possibly have located here at the bottom. And then on the top, again, they have all these lectures. These are actually the lectures that you're going to be having in medical school. To the right, you're going to have all these other outside companies who tried to make videos. Let's take genomics and proteomics. This is going to be one of the first lectures you guys have in medical school. Okay, so if you can look at this, this is July 18th. This was for us. And these are the 4 lectures that we had. And I'm going to go to genomics and proteomics 1 and 2. This is the lecture that our school gives. And then here, if we look over here, here are all the outside resources that align with that lecture. And so you have all these names of companies: Pathoma, Boards and Beyond, Physio, Sketchy, all these companies. And here's what you can watch that should align with what our school is teaching. Now you might be saying, how do I get access to these outside resources? There's this thing called the actually has all of the videos for every outside resources for if that's exactly. I bought all these outside resources that I thought were useful, and so I'll walk you through Boards and Beyond. I call Boards and Beyond BMB, bread and butter, because this is what you can use to almost pass medical school. So let's take an example. Genomics and proteomics 1 and 2. This is saying I should watch Boards and Beyond up here, and I should watch these videos that will correlate with it. So I will go to Boards and Beyond. I have it bookmarked. Let me find it, Boards and Beyond. And here's what it looks like, because I bought it, and you go to it. So for instance, I'm going to look at the scheduler, and it says Cell Biology 1.2 and 1.5 are the videos I should watch. And then I should also watch Biochemistry 1.1. So I'm going to go to Boards and Beyond, and I'm going to go to the category, and oh, look at that, there's Cell Biology. And remember, they told me to watch Cell Biology 1.1. So I'm going to go to Molecular Biology. This is 1. You see the 1 here. I'm going to go underneath it, and I'm going to go to 1.1, the first video underneath it. And oh, look at that. There's DNA replication right there for me. So I'm going to watch that video. They also said to go 1.5. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's my 5th video, translation. So they want me to watch these 2 videos from here. Now, if I go back and I see here, it also says biochemistry as well. So I'm going to go back to Boards and Beyond. I'm going to go to category. I'm going to find biochemistry. Okay, and it said 1.1, so I'm going to go under 1, I'm going to point 1.1, and oh, I should also watch DNA structure. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to watch all these videos. That's basically saying that those are the videos I should watch that align with this lecture. Okay, that's great, Michael. You've watched the video that aligns with the lecture. How do I use Anki with it? You're going to open up your flashcard application called Anki. And here's what it looks like for me. Now again, this is going to kind of look like Chinese to you until you learn the software. So learn it until it looks like English. But I'll walk you through the basics. You're going to hit browse. And I should already have the Anki Deck downloaded and ready to go. I'm going to go to my left. So remember, I hit browse. So in case you were confused, remember I hit browse at the top middle, and this is what should show up. Then I'm going to go to tags, okay, to the kind of left corner of the screen. And under tags is how you're going to find everything you need. So I go with tags, and I'm going to go underneath the video. So here's step 1, V11. This is the one you're going to use. If you have a newer version, it might say V12, it might say V13, it doesn't matter. The whole point is this is the main tag deck. Okay, we want step 1, we want V11. This is pretty much all of medical school in this system. I'm then going to open it up, and I'm going to go find the outside resource. So they tagged every single outside resource. They made it really easy to access. They made it easy to go through. And you'll look at here, remember B&B, bread and butter? That's what we just used. I'm going to go to Boards and Beyond. Now I'm going to open Boards and Beyond, and remember what number it was. It was under Cell Bio. So remember, if I go back, I'm going to look at Cell Biology 1.2 and 1.5. I'm going to go to it. I'm going to go Cell Bio, and I'm going to go to 1.2. And then I would also, I'm going to do a different one just for the sake of this, but they also said I should watch video 1.5. So if you're seeing this, remember, I'm under the entire deck. Then I'm under Boards and Beyond, and now I'm under Cell Biology, and now I'm under Translation. So it's very simple. It's just like a folder system with the tags. And now you'll see I have all these cards. I have 46 cards that I'm able to do for that video that align with that video. Very, very simple. Now, if you guys' heads are spinning, there's a lot of information, but here's what you kind of do with the huge deck when you first get it. The Anki Deck is 33,000 cards. You guys don't know a single one of those cards. I'm sorry. You will know some of them, but you don't know a single one of them just yet, right? You're brand new baby medical students. So what you do is when you get the deck, you're going to click on Anki Step 1 V11, and you're going to suspend the entire deck. And what that basically means is I'm taking all my flashcards, I'm putting them in the closet, they're collecting dust. So in order to do that, you click the top card in that 33,000, and you shift click the bottom card in that 33,000, and then it's going to select them all. Now this can take a little bit because again, you're selecting 33,000 cards. There it goes. It just takes a second. And then what you're gonna do is you're going to right click on it, okay? And you're going to go to toggle suspend, and you're going to hit that. I'm not going to hit that because I don't wanna mess it up, but that's what you would hit. And hopefully they would all look yellow. And that means they're in the closet, you're not gonna use them, they're collecting dust. When you come to a new video, you're going to then select all the cards, and you're going to unsuspend them. And now what this is going to do is, look at, they're unsuspended, they're going to be added to my main deck. You couldn't see this, but I had 92 new cards. That used to say like 40 something. But now because I unsuspended them, I had to do those new cards. So let me show you that one more time. If I go to Translation, and now I resuspend them, you're gonna notice that 96 is going to drop down to 46 because now I'm not using the cards. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So don't get lost in the weeds. Don't miss the forest through the trees. The whole point is what you're doing is you're going to the exam tracker, you're finding the video that correlates to the lecture, you're watching the video, whether it's on Boards and Beyond or Pathoma or Sketchy, then you're gonna go to your Anki, and you're going to go to the tags, and underneath the tags, you're going to find the section that you need, and you're gonna unsuspend those cards and do those cards. And it might seem intimidating, you're like, Michael, there's 1,000 different outside resources. Which one's the best? Which one am I supposed to use? Well, thank goodness our class before us was so good. They put only the highest relevant good videos that you should watch. And 90% of the time, it's bread and butter. It's Boards and Beyond. But I will be honest, I use Boards and Beyond and Sketchy, and that's all I use to really pass my blocks in medical school. Boards and Beyond, Sketchy, and Pathoma, okay? Those are the three. So hopefully that's not too crazy. Hopefully that makes a good amount of sense and you understand a little bit more now how to use it. So now I'm going to kind of try to answer some questions in your head before you even have asked them. So you're going to say, well, Michael, look at that first day of classes. You told me I could trust you and I could go to an outside resource. But look at that, Imogene is a lecture. I don't see any outside resources for Imogene. There's nothing listed for it. What do? If there's no outside resource for a specific lecture, what you're going to do is you're pretty much just going to do that lecture like you would normally. You're going to figure out another way to study that lecture. That's like the first thing. And that kind of leads into the second thing, which is, okay, Michael, well, I have, let's say I did genomics and proteomics, I did the outside resources, I did cell biology, I did the boards and beyond, I did your bread and butter. Do those videos really align with what is being taught in our school perfectly? The answer is they don't align absolutely perfect. And so I'll kind of just show you my system for how I study, and hopefully that maybe clears some stuff up and makes you feel a little bit better about this system in general. Step one is I download all the lectures for that week that I need. I download all the PowerPoints, all the resources that I think I will need for the lectures. Then step two is I bring them all into OneNote. So whether it's OneNote or it's something else, I think you should look into it, and I'll show you on it right on my screen right now. If you go under MS1 and I go under MBLD and I go under lectures and I go under week 1, you'll notice here are those lectures for that very first day. Here's Monday, July 18th, here's all my lectures. And so I'll bring them all into this central application. I love OneNote. I can kind of draw over them. I can make notes in them if I need to, but I'll bring them in here and they'll be locked and loaded, ready to go in case I need them. Then I won't use them at first. What I'll do is I will go to the outside resources. So I will go to Boards and Beyond or Pathoma or whatever, and I'll do the videos that align with the trackers. I would do all the flashcards for them. I have everything done and ready to go, okay? And then I would kind of tell myself, do I think they align well with what was covered from our school? Here's kind of the second holy grail, tutor slides. Pretty much when you get into medical school, tutors above you, they have created cliff notes for every single lecture in medical school during your first year. And it gives you the highest yield information, and it kind of boils all the information you're gonna get at medical school down into one single PowerPoint. And so this is like your first block exam that you'll take in medical school. And this is what, MBLD exam 1, if you can see here, and you'll see every single one has a tutor slides with it. So remember we were just talking about genomics and proteomics, so I'll go to it and I'll look at it. And then I can go through it and I can see, okay, did I miss anything, all right, from this first lecture? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 maybe, seven slides, and I'll go through it and I'll say, how well did Boards and Beyond cover this stuff? Did I get everything that I needed to out of the outside resources? And if the answer is no, what I'll do is I will go to one of our lectures and I'll go to that lecture and I will watch it at 2.5 times speed, or like even sometimes 3 times speed, and I'll see if I'm missing anything important. And anything that I miss or I think that's off, I'll highlight it, or maybe I'll even make a flashcard about it and I'll add it to my stack. Let's kind of get our bearings set again. So step 1, download all the lecture slides for the week, put them into OneNote. Step 2. Step 3, I'll do all the outside resources and flashcards with those resources based off of the exam tracker. And I'll do all the cards I need to every single day for review as well. Step 4, I then gauge how much time I have to do the lectures from our school. And a lot of times I will go through our lectures, I'll watch them, and I'll create extra flashcards that I think that'll show up on the test that I don't already have information about, okay? Step 6, or I guess maybe that's step 5. Step 6, I always review the tutor slides before the exam and make sure that I'm not missing anything glaring. And then the next and final thing I do before I take the exam is I do any practice problems that the tutors have given us or that the school has given us that I can use to practice. I'm not saying to do this, but I know a lot of students who literally just use the exam tracker. They just do the outside resources and then they only go through the tutor slides, okay? I wasn't as comfortable with that because I wanted to use our school's materials, right? We have great lecturers, we have great materials from our own school. The problem is they just don't have on-keying associated with. You just don't get the flashcards with it. That's the problem. Okay, deep breath everybody. That might seem like a lot of information. You might have a lot of questions still about how to use everything specifically and exactly. That stuff's gonna come with time. Here's what I'll say to kind of round it up. No matter what the strategy you use is, you find a way that works for you, and then if you're not happy with it and you wanna change it, change it one lecture at a time. It's too intimidating to try and change things all at once. Every exam is made up of like 25 lectures. It's a lot of lectures. And each lecture only has a couple of questions on it, right? Only like 2 or 3 questions. So at worst, if I try a new strategy, no matter what it is, for only one lecture, I'm probably at worst gonna miss 1 or 2 questions on the exam. A summary of what you should take away, kind of the heart of what you should take away to make you feel good. 1, become familiar with any applications going into medical school. Learn how to use Anki, learn how to use OneNote, any other organizer you want, but start learning some of these applications and these strategies before you get into medical school or during the first 2 weeks. Step 2, if you don't really know where to start with any of that, sit down once you get here with one of the second years, with one of somebody else who feels like they know what's going on. And then step 3, try a new strategy, one baby step at a time. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone, but make it manageable so it's not like the world is falling, the sky is falling. Doctoring is completely different than the block material and what you're gonna learn, so I'll give you some quick tips for doctoring. Doctoring, in my opinion, is best completed hands-on. So you're gonna learn physical maneuvers. You're gonna learn how to use a stethoscope, how to use these different things, how to go through a physical exam, how do I inspect the lungs, how do I inspect the abdomen, all this kind of stuff. And I think it's best by just practicing physically, either on a friend or on a family member or whatever. Just go through repetition after repetition after repetition. I think that's the best way that you're gonna learn doctoring. What I would recommend too is that you start early and you get a good foundation early, because in doctoring, everything builds off of each other. So if you get a very good basic foundation in doctoring, right, what you learn at the beginning of the year is going to be a lot of information, but it's going to carry throughout the entire year. Okay, so now I guess it's time for random advice. I don't even know if I have random advice. Man, it's hot, I'm tired. Take what you want from this video, use what you want. I'm sure it'll last a week before the school tells me to take it down. So get it in now, get your likes in now, and we'll see ya. Peace.